We are here with Delane Ross and, of course, Beverly Sartain. So I am doing something new where I am going to be interviewing people in our group or just people in my inner circle that I know are doing incredible work. I want to highlight you. I want to share what you're up to. And so today I've got the wonderful Delane here so that we can see what she's up to and you can learn more about what she's doing. So these interviews are meant to be super informal. They're going to be about 15 minutes long in length. And so it's just really meant to be like a quick interview so you get to hear from somebody new, see what they're doing, and see if there is somebody in your circle that could use this resource. Or maybe it's you that could use this resource. So welcome, Delane.
Thanks, Beverly. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for including me.
So happy to have you. You're actually my first guest, so super exciting. Yes, yes, exactly. So for me, the reason that I reached out to you is because, well, we've been working together. I just find your story really interesting, like what you're doing and how you're incorporating more of your purpose into your work. So why don't we just kick it off with you just briefly telling us who you are and what you do.
I am Delane Ross. I teach kettlebell certifications, online courses. I used to own a kettlebell studio, and then kind of like the catalyst of my downward spiral was selling my gym, having an income without a lot of responsibilities. And after 2 years of, a crazy lifestyle that was not fulfilling, I woke up one day and was like, I can't do this anymore. That's when I stopped drinking, and I met up with my best friend, and he said, well, why don't you figure out a way to combine your passion with sobriety, your passion for helping people, and your passion for fitness, and combine all those things together. And I thought, wait, I think I know someone who does that. So I called a colleague of mine who was a lead trainer for a sober gym in Utah. And through his connections, I finally got connected with the founder of The Phoenix. And Scott Strode, about 11 years ago, founded a nonprofit that helps people who are looking for community when they first get, well, not even first, but when they're in recovery and are looking for a life in recovery. And I got connected with him. We kept the conversation going for almost a year. And I got hired on to help them expand into new markets so we can all break the stigma and have some community together in recovery.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I was actually working with somebody who really enjoys fitness. And so for him, like part of his recovery process was like getting more into the fitness piece. Like I have a lot of respect for it because when I started my recovery process, I was so emotionally and mentally unstable that that's where I needed to start. And so that's not everybody's story, right? I know a lot of people that they actually go in on the physical level and they work on their nutrition or their fitness, or that's really how their recovery process starts. So I think it's important that we talk about these different things because I think it's important for people to hear that you can begin your recovery journey in a lot of different ways. And in fact, most of us do. And so the physical level has been something that I haven't worked on as much as I am now. So interestingly enough, like when I hit the 10-year mark in my recovery, that's where like I was really getting more into the physical level. I always exercised, I always watched my nutrition, but it's like I've taken it to another level now. And so I think it's just important to talk about these different levels because it's good that this is, what your expertise is in. So how has that been for you?
Well, the interesting thing is that looking into the Phoenix, if you're not a part of our community, it's not, and it's going to sound crazy to say, but it's not really about the fitness and about the exercise. That's really the tool that we use to build community. So a lot of times people talk about stigma, and there's stigma from people who look at people in recovery and have a certain view of us and how we are and how we're supposed to be living under bridges and in jail. That's just not the case. But there's also a stigma of people who want to get sober, who think that if I get sober, I'm going to be smoking cigarettes outside of church basements and, sitting for hours in therapy, and it's going to be very sterile and I have to give up my life. And all of these methods of, pathways to recovery are great. So, 12-step program is great. Smart recovery is great. Anything that gets people sober is great. A lot of times people are thinking they're not going to have any fun. So the fitness piece allows that community and the people to have a place to go, like-minded people who aren't using, who aren't drinking, and then they have this life that they didn't think that they would have in sobriety. So that's really the fitness, although it seems like our focus, it's really a byproduct. And the cool thing about fitness is it gives you benchmarks. Like, anyone walks into a gym off the street and thinks like, oh, I'll never be able to do that. And then they do that. It's this huge, confidence builder. But when you have some people come in and they've never been told they can do anything in their lives, and you say you can put up that weight, and they're like, yeah, right. And then 2 weeks later they're doing it. Like, that's a big win. So fitness allows these benchmarks, these big wins, and the community piece that people are missing. And then it just so happens to also be good for you. So it's really more about the community and the people and finding a life in recovery than it is about, getting stronger and getting more endurance, even though that's a great byproduct.
Right. I love that. So it's the lifestyle piece, right? And it's nice that that's what I love about it, is that there can be different types of community, right? There can be a community of people where we do more of a processing. There can be a community of people where we're being more active. There can be a community of people where, maybe we're connecting more on a different level. Mm-hmm. So it's cool that it offers that. So how did you, or why did you get connected to the Phoenix?
It's so weird. A friend of mine from college that I probably haven't seen in 12 years, I had kind of been putting some things out on Facebook. I originally was going to try to do something like this on my own. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, I watched this TED Talk, this guy, Scott Strode, and she tagged him in there, and he reached out to me, and we had a phone call, and he's like, I'll help you in any way that I can, but we're looking at probably expanding if you can just keep this conversation going for a while. And last July, I had a meeting of the kettlebell leadership. So I teach the kettlebell certifications. We have a meeting once a year. It happened to be in Denver this year or last year. And Scott's like, why don't you stay an extra couple days and hang out at our gym and kind of get an idea of what we have. And for me, I get really nervous walking into other people's gyms just because, unless they're my friends. And so I never know what to expect. And I can't even imagine, we call it like the 500-pound door the first time someone walks through a Phoenix. But even me walking in, it took 1 second, and I was like, I belong here. Like, this place is for me. The feeling of, no judgment, it's a very emotionally and physically safe space. And I walked out like, I have to be a part of this in some way. And I was even like, even if you don't hire me, I'll volunteer. Just tell me. It's amazing. I have to be a part of this. And it was like from minute one when I met the staff out there, it was like, this is what I'm meant to do.
That's awesome. It sounds like it felt like a really safe place for you and felt like a place that you could call home. And I think it's so important that we find those spaces for ourselves where we can keep being vulnerable or practice being vulnerable. Like, we can keep being real and honest about what our feelings are and what's coming up for us. And that we also feel like people are, receiving us in some sort of way and see us, so it's cool that's, how that experience has been for you. So where are the Phoenix, where are they located? So people have an idea on that.
Yeah, we have physical brick and mortar locations in Colorado, Massachusetts, Idaho, Montana, California. And then we have satellite locations popping up everywhere. Currently, we have Philadelphia, Chicago. We're about to turn on Oregon next month. I run events out of Atlanta. So that's kind of the part of the team that I'm on, is the expansion team. So as people want to get involved, so for example, in Philadelphia, we have a great CrossFit gym, and they're called Fearless Athletics, and they came to us and said, hey, I want to donate my space. I've got people who can teach. I have a connection to the cause. So they do Phoenix events from their gym. I think they're up to 5 times a week now, but they're a for-profit that runs their own events, every day. But then 5 times a week, they have a safe space for people to come who are in recovery, who can, have that community and have that workout. So it can look.
What's a satellite office?
Well, that's what I mean. We don't have a Phoenix gym where we have our sign on the front and you walk in and it's a Phoenix. It's someone else's gym who's running our programming.
Got it. Okay.
And in Atlanta, I run a hike, so we don't have a location. And then the guys at CrossFit Decatur are amazing and let us use their space once a week. So I do classes out of there. I have a class out of a community center called The Zone in Marietta once a week. And so it's basically, we don't have, our gym, but we have other people who let us use their space for our programs.
Awesome. And how would people get connected to something like this if there isn't a brick and mortar, and maybe there is or isn't a satellite? How would you recommend that people look into something like this?
First step would be go to our website, so thephoenix.org/events, and that's going to have all of our events in our brick and mortars and in our satellite offices and our hikes and our camping trips. So all the events are listed there. If there's nothing anywhere close to you, there's a button that says initiate. You just click initiate, fill out the forms, like what you think you need, and then one of us on the team that I'm on will connect with you and see, hey, well, we've got this close, or let's continue this conversation. Maybe we can get something started. So that's
I love that. That's awesome. So I'm really excited about everything that you're up to. Like, you have your own business, and now you're also supporting the Phoenix and doing that work, which is really cool. And I'm really excited that you've been able to share this with us today. Like, for you and your recovery, what do you feel like's been the number one tool that supported you the best?
Honestly, the supportive community. I was one who was blessed with, I did have my group of friends who used and drank, but then I also have a lot of friends who, like, coincidentally, I don't believe in coincidences, but a lot of people really close to me have people who are in recovery close to them. So I kind of just stepped into a community that was supportive, and I couldn't even imagine not having that. So that's one of the reasons that I love working for the Phoenix, is if people don't have that, it's kind of a ready-made community of people who want to see you succeed. So that's why it's really exciting to be able to do this. And I know it sounds so cheesy. I'm kind of a cheesy person.
No, it doesn't.
Phoenix is such a good analogy, because like there was so much wreckage and like I missed opportunities and things that I wasn't forgiving myself for because I was not in the place I wanted to be. But it really feels like, okay, I can take all of that and make something good out of it and use my experiences to help other people. So
that's awesome. Yeah. And what about, like, how would you say this is kind of like an off the cuff question for you, but I know people struggle with building new friendships. How was that for you in like letting people know that you were in recovery, and how did you navigate that when it came to friendships? Good question, huh?
Yeah, question.
People really struggle with this, right? So that's why I'm asking you is how that was for you, because I see a lot of people struggle with letting go of people that no longer like are in alignment or fit where they're at. And to me, the Phoenix is really about like building new friendships, new lifestyle, like all of that stuff. So I'm just curious how that went down for you.
For me, it was a lot more about setting boundaries than it was to just cutting people off. So I kind of knew like when and where I could see these people, because a lot of my friends who were in my using days, there's a time and a place I can grab coffee with them and it's fine. I just might not want to go to the bar for happy hour, so it was just setting the boundaries and knowing when. And I didn't tell people until maybe 3 months in that I had, that I was in recovery, just because I wanted to make sure it was like, I was really sure this time that it was going to stick. And then I knew like so many of them would have been like, yeah, right, whatever, heard that before. So I had to get a little bit of time before I like outed myself to my friends. But in the early stages, it was just about setting boundaries and knowing when and where I could hang out with them.
Yeah, that's great. So being sure that you were committed to the process, and then it was almost like you had to set that boundary with yourself first.
For sure.
And then you moved on to setting that boundary with other people. I really feel like for me, it's just like, it became my truth, like to live this way. And then it, like, I just felt so empowered by that and comfortable with that then it made it easier to share it with other people, that it was about me and my decision to live this way. And it took a little while to stand forward in that, but then it became easier and easier and to just own it, So I think that's how that went down for me. So any questions that you might have for me?
Okay, so if you guys don't know, Beverly is my business coach and friend. So I would like to know from that point of view, and even in our mastermind group, we've seen breakthroughs, almost on a weekly basis with people.
Yeah.
So all the people that you have coached and all the situations that you witnessed, what has been the most standout breakthrough that one of the people that you coach has gone through?
Yeah, it's an awesome question. I think for me, like when I look back on all of the people that I've coached, because I come from, counseling background. So I used to counsel people at a nonprofit treatment facility. So I've worked with like all walks of life, all kinds of people. which has been such a cool experience. And so stepping into my coaching business was such a different thing because it was more about, okay, who do I want to work with now? Or who, my skills that I have, who is that going to best serve? And so at the beginning, I was really, still working with people that were connected to alternative recovery. So that was kind of a cool thing, is that the people that were coming to me were really looking for something other than the 12 steps, or they had already done that. And I would say and this has happened a couple times, so it's a really fascinating question because I've seen similar breakthroughs, and this particular type of breakthrough is really special to me, is when somebody comes and they're at the very beginning and they really haven't discovered a lot about themselves yet. And then as they're going through the self-discovery process, they realize that this really is all about a spiritual journey. Mm-hmm. And so that breakthrough of, oh, I thought I was coming to you to talk about not drinking anymore or to not binge drink anymore for this particular person. And then it became about, I'm actually on a self-discovery journey. Mm-hmm. And I'm here to learn about the truth of who I am. And it was so fascinating with this particular person is when I met them that first day and they felt really broken, they just kept saying, I want calmness and truth in my life. I want calmness and truth. And the more that we worked together, and this happened very quickly for this person because they so committed to, oh, this is a personal journey. This is about my personal growth and my spiritual growth. And when they had that click happen, it was a breakthrough for them because they realized it wasn't anymore about all their behaviors. It was really about them learning to love themselves, them, showing up powerfully in their life. And just that was my breakthrough. So I think having that reflected back to me that very cool. It wasn't about my ego or about my behaviors. It was about me spiritually growing and learning the truth of who I am. And so that was really cool to see. When people have that, they think it's one thing and then they realize it's totally something different, and that creates a big shift for them. So I love seeing that in coaching. And I just have to say, coaching has been just such a powerful experience for me because I come from also doing therapy, receiving therapy and going more of those clinical routes. It's been so awesome at this point in my process to do coaching because coaching is very solution focused, forward thinking. Mm-hmm. And I just find I get more breakthroughs through coaching than I ever did when I received therapy or counseling or anything. So what do you think about that?
No, that's great. I love that. And I love that whole what you put out being reflected back to you. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's a harsh reflection back, right? But sometimes it's an awesome reflection back too. It's always learning, even when something that you feel oh, this is not the best thing that's being reflected back to me, that I love too, because even in that, it's okay, what am I supposed to learn about myself here? So just taking that perspective, I think helps the recovery process so much. Yeah, that's great. So thank you so much for being here. So how can we get in touch? I know you've already mentioned the Phoenix's website. How could we get in touch with you? Or again, is there any other way besides the website? Is there a Facebook page for the Phoenix or anything like that people can connect with?
Yes, there is. There's a Facebook page. We have Facebook pages for all of our locations as well. And if someone wanted to support the Phoenix who is not in recovery, we have some CrossFit gyms that we own too. So in Denver and in Boston, we have a Per Ignum CrossFit that feeds into the Phoenix. So if someone was not identifying as living a sober lifestyle but wanted to help out, they could join one of those gyms. I know that's, there are only a few. We're opening more. But you can email me, Delaine at thephoenix.org, DELAINE. And so
cool.
Facebook.
What is the intention? So is it
Yes, we want a Phoenix in every community. That's our goal. We're going to take over the world.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So any last minute things that you'd like to share or say in regards to your recovery or the Phoenix and what it's done for you?
No, just thank you for letting me be here and share about this. This is, it really is my dream job. I'm really excited that I can, I think we might, I'm not the only, but we're probably one of the few companies that end our conference calls with how much we love each other and everything. So it's just I'm really fortunate to be with such a nurturing company.
Yeah, I love it. And that's why I really wanted you to be on, because you have so much passion for what you do. And this is what I always am talking about, right? If you can like take your passion, your purpose, and combine that for something that feels really, really meaningful for you, that is such a help in a recovery process, because we stay the course much easier when we feel like we're contributing in this world in a positive and meaningful way. And so that's why I wanted you to share about the Phoenix, because, you know, this is something separate from what you do with your own business, you know, and so you've really found like so many things that you're passionate and make you feel purposeful. And I think it's a great example to other people. So thank you for all that you do, Delaine.
Thank you, Beverly.
All right, and I would just want to encourage you that if you have enjoyed what Delaine's talked about, to go and like one of the Phoenix's Facebook pages, to contact her. I love that you can even start your own initiative wherever you are if you're not seeing anything in your area. So this is, you know, always that place where if you're feeling the nudge to do more with your recovery, like everyone counts, everyone matters. You can do something big or small to start creating more community for yourself and for other people. So thank you so much for being here. Talk soon. Thank you.